Hello there. I'm the Pictish Trail, and although you don't know it yet, I am one of the biggest artists in Scotland. I'm really, really big. And by big, I mean fat. But you're going to get to know me really well. I hope you enjoy my music. When did I start making music? It's weird. I started making music when I was about 4 or 5 years old. I got a keyboard from my dad for Christmas, and it had a demo button on it that had Rick Astley's "Together Forever" on it, and I would just make up my own lyrics to that song. So I had so many songs. I had hundreds and hundreds of songs, but they were all Rick Astley. It was all Rick Astley backing tracks with just ridiculous lyrics about how I have no friends. It was one that goes, "Together forever and ever with you." But I think I did like lyrics about "I'm going to have a delicious sandwich," and I did. And just look at me now. So yeah, I started making music then. But I didn't really start writing my own songs properly until I was about 16, 17. And I got an acoustic guitar. It's pretty miserable. A lot of the early stuff is pretty miserable. I think being a teenager is quite a miserable time in general. And so yeah, I was living in America at the time when I started writing songs, and no one understood me. I speak quite fast sometimes, and I talk a lot to myself. So a lot of my early songs were quite miserable, usually about girls I liked and maths. Well, I moved back to Scotland after living in America, and I went to university in Fife, and I became involved in a collective called the Fence Collective, who are based in St Andrews. And all of the musicians who were associated with that scene all had alter egos. They all had like pseudonyms. And it's quite cool. It's quite liberating. It means you can kind of record something and it's not just your own name. Plus, I find people who use their own name, I find it really boring. I just don't see the point of it. I think it's stupid. So I think it's more interesting if you can hide behind like a different name, because it's more liberating. You can just you can be whoever you want to be a little bit. Yeah, so that's why. Also, Johnny Lynch is too good a name. There'd be too much pressure to write great songs if I was called Johnny Lynch, because people would be expecting, oh wow, Johnny Lynch, that's a great name. So I was involved with this collective, and I was running a record label called Fence Records for a long time, and I released a lot of CDRs, a lot of with like handmade artwork, and so I released a lot of music that way, lots of mini albums and singles and EPs, and then in 2008 I recorded a proper album, I guess, Secret Sounds Volume 1, and that's just been, and then I've recorded the follow-up 4 years later, and they've just been, because I released them myself, they were only, people could only really buy them in shops in Scotland, and mostly charity shops. So Moshi, who are a label based in London, they've helped get my music out to a wider audience. I'm writing a new album just now, but for the time being, Secret Sounds 1 and 2 are available to everyone all over the world. They're amazing. They're a really cool label. They're a label that because I run my own label now called Lost Map Records from my home on the island of Egg. And I look to Moshi a lot for inspiration. They're a really cool group of people. They do management as well as release records, and they don't seem tied to a specific genre. They just like music that they like. So they have Hercules and Love Affairs on that label. They used to have Slow Club on that label. They work with a guy called Sweet Baboo, and they work with my stuff. So it's quite a good mixture of songwriters, I think. and we all each do quite a different thing. But they've been really good because they've given me a lot of confidence, and they've given me the opportunity to come over here, which is great. I would say that I think my songs are getting better, definitely. Secret Sounds 1 and 2, the album that's out, is kind of a collection of my best songs, I guess, from that time. I was writing a lot of stuff, but they're kind of like a best of, in a weird way. So, what is the influence for writing? I like working with different styles. I don't like feeling trapped in one specific thing. So the new record has got a bit of a hip hop feel on some stuff, and there's more of an electronic kind of approach to songwriting on this new record. But I just, I let the songs happen, and if they go in a certain style, if it's like a country song or if it's a folky song, then that's what will happen. But if I kind of feel like I want to get my keyboard and my sampler out, then I'll do something that's a bit more, sounds more modern, I guess. Like, I'm massively inspired by all the bands who are on my label. There's like I've got 9 acts who I work with quite closely, and they all range in different styles as well. So there's some that's quite ethereal singer-songwriter stuff that's really dreamy. There's some that's Seamus Fogarty's very electronic and in places and uses a lot of samples, and I'm very inspired by that. Suze, who played with me, plays in a band called Tough Love, and they do like a more pop, grunge pop sounding thing, and I like the structure of their songwriting is really, I find really inspiring. And so I kind of steal everyone's ideas and then claim them for my own. It's worked really well. Okay, Long in the Tooth, the video was, it was filmed by a guy called Ryan Edelston, who is a really great filmmaker. He's worked with Griff Rhys from the Super Furry Animals. He just helped do some, he was the director of photography, I think, on his recent American Interior film. And he was over on the island of Egg because I was holding a festival. So I was organising a festival that was happening that weekend. And I went to introduce one of the bands, and they started playing, and then I ran over to the pickup truck and we just started filming and driving around Egg. And I came back and I missed her set. But the people who are in the pickup truck with me are all people who are involved with bands on my label. So Rosie Plain is in there, Adam from Randolph Sleep, Kate, who runs the label with me, from Kid Canaveral. It was nice, it was good fun. I didn't want to, it's weird with music videos because a lot of the time you don't have a big budget to work with, so that one was very cheap. But I thought it would just be quite fun just to drive around. It's a beautiful island, Egg. It's a really lovely place, and that's where I live most of the time, so I wanted to show off Egg more than myself, I guess. Bizarrely, Long in the Tooth is the oldest song on the record. I wrote it back in 2003, and I released it. It was when I first released it. It was like more of a sad country song, bizarrely, and a few years later, one of the bands on my label, Kid Canaveral, did a cover of it that was more poppy, and it made me appreciate the song in a different way. And so when it came to recording my album, I thought, I think I'll try and give this song new life. It's about a relationship with a friend, someone who I used to do stuff with. We used to do comedy together, actually. And it's an exaggeration. It's not really about him, but it's kind of how I was feeling at the time. I'd not heard from him in a while, so I wrote this song, and I think, it's funny because it's become it applies to another relationship now. It's quite funny how songs can do that. Yeah, I did do stand-up when I was at university. I mean, it was pretty terrible. It was really bad. But I used to take a show to the Fringe, the Edinburgh Fringe, every year with some friends. And we did some really stupid stuff. And there's a few of my friends now who are full-time comedians off the back of it. They make their living that way, which is cool. I kind of decided once I finished university, I wanted to continue doing music instead of comedy because comedy is really difficult to maintain. You have to, it's really difficult to remain composed. Also, I like to drink, so it's difficult to get drunk and do comedy, but it's very easy to get drunk and play music. That's my favourite drink. I've got a game with my friend Bart, which is called Drink Anything. And the the rules of the game are you drink anything. So, banana sambuca was a recent one. Pretty disgusting. I really like Jägermeister, and I like and beer though. I'm a big beer drinker, as you can probably tell. The best cure for hangover is a game I call Drink Anything. You just carry on. It's a special game. But also Iron Brew the next morning is pretty good. It's a Scottish drink. If you have it really cold first thing in the morning and pour it on some cereal, beautiful. The songs aren't really that political. I try not to. They're mostly about feelings and just kind of thoughts. And there's certain songs about certain people. A lot of the last record was about my mother who passed away. So there was like a lot of dealing with the grief of that I kind of expressed in song. And so I guess that's kind of fairly self-evident. But I don't really feel. I hope my songs aren't preachy. They're really just about me, to be honest. And if people like the songs, then I hope they'll like me. Please love me. It's it's just they're just personal songs. It works in different ways. Sometimes I'll have an idea for a lyric, a specific line that I really want to sing, or a specific sentence that I really want to express. And that'll usually come with like a melody, and then that'll kind of be like the backbone for a song. And it's kind of, at that point, it's about jigsawing, getting all the pieces of the jigsaw together and kind of making it fit. Sometimes crowbarring a lot of stuff in to make it work. But so sometimes it'll just be myself with a cup of tea, sat on the couch, and I'll have my notebook, and I'll write in my notebook what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling. Other times I'll take my phone and I'll go out into the outside, and I'll take a walk in the hills, and I'll just like have my headphones on, and I'll record melodies and stuff in my phone, and then I'll return to them like a week later, and I'll be like, it's terrible. So I kind of, my songwriting approach is quite fluid, I guess, in that way. I just come up with lots of different ideas and then work away, piecing them all together. I very rarely, I've written a few songs where I've like sat down and written it in like 20 minutes. There's been a few songs that it just comes out of you. But for the most part, it's a very long, drawn out process.
So what's the song that took you the longest?
There's a song I'm writing just now. It's just called Let It Go. Which is since I've started writing it, there's been a more famous song called Let It Go that's come out. So maybe I'll need to change the name of it. But that one I've had for like 2 years. And I just like I'm working on the second verse right now. It's really difficult. But I think it's a really good song. And I've been performing it where I just repeat the first verse. So it's kind of, maybe I'll just do that. Maybe it'll only have one verse. But I feel it's not finished yet. And my plan, my hope, my dream is to finish it this year, because I really want it to go on the next record. For me, playing live is what music is. It's like the physical, real embodiment of what music is. The recorded thing, I love recording my songs, and it's good. But I don't really feel that the recorded versions of my songs are the definitive version. I think the definitive version of every song is how it is being received in the moment. So for me, playing live, I find it's a really important conduit for expressing the songs. It is what the songs are about. and it's what I take the most joy from is performing live. It's weird. It's like a compulsion. Most of the musicians I know are compelled to perform live, and it's a lot of the singer-songwriters I know are quite introverted people. They're very shy, and they kind of, you know, they're quite quiet people. But when their music, it drives them so much that they are compelled to perform live, and I take a great inspiration from that. And I feel the same. I feel it's a cathartic to be able to perform them live, and it's fun. It happens. Usually, you know, if I've had a drink, it's usually better. If I play Drink Anything before, that usually helps. But yeah, it happens every now and again. Usually it's because I won't have eaten. If I've not eaten something, I'll get nervous and feel a bit sick. But I don't get nervous to the extent where I wouldn't want to play. It's excited nervous. But yeah, I've never felt like, oh my God, this is going to be terrible. I'm always really excited about performing live. I see it as a challenge. I did a tour once with Katie Tunstall, who was from the sort of same collective in Scotland. She started out there, and we kept in touch, and she invited me to tour with her. In fact, we played a lot of shows in Germany, and it was quite scary because I'd be going out on my own. So I had no band. It was just me on my own in front of 3,000 people each night, and that was quite scary, particularly in countries where people don't speak English that much. Germany was fine because a lot of people speak English here, but in places like Luxembourg, that was a hard gig. They did not understand a single word I said, but I find that thrilling. I find that challenge of trying to connect with an audience and trying to express the meaning of the songs. Doesn't matter what the size of audience is. I always find that really exciting. It can be sometimes. I mean, I've got tricks in the set, so there'll be some songs like where there'll be a deliberately quite a quiet moment, or I'll sing a bit a cappella and just really strip everything back. And I usually try and do that like 2 or 3 songs into the set quite early on, just to kind of see if people will be quiet. Because once if you've got a silent room, people are very aware of that. People are very aware, like they become hyper aware that there's absolute silence, and I think that's a really powerful thing. That it doesn't always work. Sometimes you just have people chatting the entire way through. Hope that doesn't happen tonight. I'd love to collaborate with Tough Love one day, but they're very picky. I've been fortunate that I've been able to collaborate with quite a few people in my career. I'm working with this guy Adam just now, who's producing my album. We did a record together called Silver Columns. That was electropop, and he's an amazing person to collaborate with because I can go in with sort of. He's producing my new album, and the way it's been working is I've been going in with some like small ideas, and he's been really great at helping me arrange them into songs, which has been great. So I love working with him, and I hope that continues. But I'm really inspired by a lot of electronic stuff. I really love Luke Abbott's stuff. I really love Nathan Fake's music. A lot of the stuff in the Border Community label I find really inspiring and really touching and beautiful. So it'd be fun to do something with those guys. Fortet is a really big inspiration as well, and Caribou. Both of those guys are, I think, are among my favorite artists, and I find their approach to releasing stuff really interesting. Particularly Fortet's manner of like just releasing EPs and singles, and he collaborates with a lot of people, and I find the dance world is really, and the electronic world specifically, is quite open to collaboration, and it's really fruitful and inspiring. It doesn't happen, I guess, as much in the same way with songwriters. There's not as much an approach to experimentation, I guess, with songwriting. People, which is a shame. So I'm interested in collaborating with more electronic people. Hello. Did you enjoy my songs? It's good, wasn't it? It was really good. Sue's was really good. lovely voice. You should check out her band Tough Love. Yeah, I hope you like the songs. Buy my album. I'd like to come back to Germany, so buy my album so I can come back. And yeah, hopefully see you soon. Goodbye.